Hi YouTube family and friends, welcome back to another Photon Rookie video. This is video number 21. My name's Jim, and this time we're going to look at an ultra mega stack of the Horse Head Nebula. 20,464 subs stacked together, half of them from the S30 and half of them from the S50. As you can imagine, to collect over 20,000 subs for an object, you have to spend a lot of nights outside. It took 57 hours, actually 60 hours, to collect all the subs. I started with 21,800 subs, pretty much evenly split between the Seestar S50 and the Seestar S30. Once stacking was done, I ended up stacking 20,464 subs. That means I lost 1,336 subs that were rejected for some reason. But I found it interesting and finally confirmed that you can stack subs from the S50 and subs from the S30 together. They mesh together very well. At the end, you'll end up, your image will have the field of view of the S30, which makes sense. So you can see here on my computer, it shows how many subs I got, 20,464, and it showed the total execution time was over 34 hours for all the stacking to complete. Okay, here we are in Serial, and I have the linear unstretched image of the Horse Head Nebula and the Flame Nebula here on the screen. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take an auto stretch view of this and see what we're dealing with. Yeah, that looks nice. We've got a lot to work with. In fact, that looks so good, I think I'll just publish that and end the video here. Just kidding. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the green noise from the image. Hit apply. You saw the green noise was taken out there. I'll save that. One thing I'm going to do different this time than I did on my other tutorials, I'm going to send this image to Grexpert before I remove the stars. I found that with the Horse Head Nebula, with all those really bright stars, the image seems to come out better overall if I send the stars into Grexpert with the nebula and then remove afterwards. So let's go ahead and do that now. You want to put this back in linear. And we want to save it, and we want to hit the download arrow. We want to change it to a TIFF file. And we want to come over here, go to the desktop, because my TIFF folder is located on the desktop. And I'm going to put save that picture right inside the TIFF folder. Alright, now we can minimize Serial, and we're going to open Grexpert. Okay, we'll load our image, which is the one we just took from Serial and put into this TIFF folder. So I'll click on that image. And as usual, Grexpert will do an auto stretch on it. Looks a little bit like a tie-dyed t-shirt there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a background extraction. I've learned with doing the Horse Head Nebula previously not to go all the way up to 1 on background extraction, because it tends to make the horse head jet black in the final image, and you lose what little bit of detail you have there. On top of the horse head, there's a bit of a reflection on top of it there. You'll lose that if you do too much background extraction. I don't know why. I'm just speaking from experience. So I'm going to leave it at about 0.7 instead of 1.0 and go ahead and calculate the background. And it did its thing, so we could come up here and do this drop down, look at the background and see what was removed. Yeah, a lot of these topographical lines here were removed from the background. So we'll go back to gradient corrected. And one thing I noticed after we did the background extraction, that little reflection on top of the horse head is still there. So that's good. So we'll accept that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to denoise it. So we select that. I'm going to do about a 0.7 denoise, and Grexpert will do its thing there. As I've stated previously, I really love the denoising job that Grexpert does. It does a very good job. Okay, so we are done with Grexpert. So we'll come up here to save, and we'll save this processed image, and we'll save it back in our TIFF folder. Okay, we're done with Grexpert, so we can close that, and we'll come back over and we're going to open GIMP. What we're going to do with GIMP is we're going to take the Grexpert image we just made out of the TIFF folder, turn it back into a fit file, and put it back in Serial so we can separate the stars and then do our stretching. So I'll come up here to File, Open. The TIFF folder is on my desktop, so I choose that. And I come down here and find my TIFF folder. There it is. Click on it, and I'll open the image that has Grexpert attached to it now. It's pretty much black because we haven't stretched it yet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come up to File, come down to Export As. We're going to come down here to select File Type, and we're going to choose FITS File, Flexible Image Transport System. And the folder I'm going to send it to is my Serial work folder, which I have it on the D drive. So I click D drive and I come down till I find it. And there it is. Then I just hit export. Alright, it's back in Serial now, so I can close GIMP. Maximize Serial back on the screen. I want to come up here to Open, and we want to open the file that has Grexpert attached to it right here. And it'll be a white screen there when you first load it back from Grexpert. That's normal. That's okay. What I want to do is I want to go to star processing. Well, first to get rid of that white screen, just click on Generalized Hyperbolic Stretch and it goes away. We're not going to stretch yet. We're going to go ahead and do our star removal. So come back up to Image Processing, come down to Star Processing, StarNet Star Removal. We're going to check the pre-stretch linear image because we're removing the stars before we stretch the image. And I've been using upsample times 2. So hit execute, and now we'll let StarNet do its thing and remove the stars from the image. Okay, it's about done. Stars have been removed. Let's just take a look at an auto stretch of the nebula without the stars and see how it looks. Alright, that's it without the stars. So we're going to go ahead and do a stretch. So you need to go back into linear. You want to make sure you save this image, and now we're going to stretch it. So we're going to come over here to Image Processing. We're going to come down to Generalized Hyperbolic Stretch Transformation. We're going under Type of Stretch, we're going to choose General Hyperbolic Transform, and under Color Stretch Model I'm going to use Humid Weighted Luminance. Alright, now we can start stretching. So I'm going to grab this stretch bar right here. You just want to stretch it a little bit at a time. Okay, we can see the horse head and the flame nebula starting to show up nicely there. Going to continue to stretch. Okay, what I'm really hoping to get with this image is a lot of this darker nebulosity, or this dust that's normally hidden. So as we continue the stretch, I'm going to draw a little box right here with my cursor, and I'm going to come over and hit this dropper. what I did, I just changed the symmetry point to put emphasis on stretching on this area and the other areas like it that have that have those dust clouds, that dark nebulosity there. So leaving the box there, let's go ahead and continue our stretching. Hit apply. Okay, let's click in here to get rid of the box. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of this grayness in the image. To do that, we're going to come up here to type of stretch. We're going to choose linear stretch black point shift, and all our data, of course, in our image is inside this spike. To the left of it's really a dead zone. We're going to get rid of this dead zone by using this black point shift, and as we do it, make sure you keep this clip percentage at 0 or very close to 0. You start getting a value there, you're going to get into clipping the data out of your nebula. So as I move this slider to the right, this spike will move to the left, and you'll see the grayness fade out of the image. So here we go. And you want to go right up to the point where you start seeing a clip percentage. Then you can use this fine tune to back off of it a little bit to get that back to 0. There, now you see we're at 0. The grayness is out of the image. I think we can still stretch it a little more to bring some of this dark nebulosity out. So you want to hit apply. You want to come up here to type of stretch and go back to generalized hyperbolic transform. I'm going to put our little box out here again to change our symmetry point to match the darker nebulosity. Come over here and hit this little dropper, and then we continue stretching. I tend to overstretch my images. It takes a lot of patience on my part not to do it, because as I stretch it, I say to myself, wow, look at all that neat stuff coming into view. But you can definitely overdo it. So you have to find a good balance. I think right there is pretty good. Let's get rid of that box. Let's hit apply. Let's go back and see if we can do any more with the black point shift. And I'm going to use the fine tuning on it. I keep hitting it. And I'll keep hitting this till I see a value under the clip percentage. And there it is. It's at 0.1. I'll let that slide. So hit apply. Close this. And I think our stretch looks pretty good there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a TIFF in my TIFF folder. And in a few minutes we're going to use a program called GIMP to go in and work with this image to see what we can bring out in it. So what I'll do is I'll come up here, we'll save that image. I'll hit this download arrow. I want to change it back into a TIFF file like we did before. I want to go to desktop because that's where my TIFF folder is, right here. And I'm going to hit save. And save again. All right, now we're going to open the star mask and stretch it. So there's the star mask. Again, it looks kind of funky here. The way I've learned to get rid of that is once you come down here and hit your generalized hyperbolic stretch transformation to stretch it, it goes back to normal. Maybe some of you out there might know why the screen goes wonky like that, but it's pretty easy to get rid of by doing this. Now when you stretch stars, for the type of stretch, you don't want to use generalized hyperbolic transform. You want to use modified arcsine transform. You want to keep the color stretch model on humid weighted luminance. And let's go now. Stretching stars is always easy. I just take it out to about 7.5 or so in that neighborhood, and that's good enough. And I hit apply. And I hit close. Now I've noticed every time I've ever stretched the stars when working on the Horse Head Nebula, this star, which I think corresponds to that real bright star in the image, comes out blue. So what I want to do, I have been using color saturation to remove that, but I'm going to try something different this time. We'll revisit that blue star right there shortly. So now I'm just going to save it, and then I'm going to download it into my TIFF folder as a TIFF file. Come over to desktop, find my TIFF folder again, and hit save. And save. Alright, so now we can minimize Cyril. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open GIMP and see what we can do with the starless image. Alright, so I'm going to hit File, Open. I've got to go to Desktop because that's where my TIFF folder is. Scroll down to the TIFF folder, and we're going to find our latest image that has Graxpert on it, and that's going to be this one. When this opens up, don't hit convert, just hit keep, and that's the starless image. I meant to open the nebula, but we can do the starless image first. That's okay. So what I wanted to do, I'm going to get rid of this blue star right here, and the way you do that is come up here and grab this eraser. Make sure that your eraser size is not too big here, and I'm just going to get rid of it. And there you have it. It's pretty much gone there now. Then I'm going to take it and export it back into the TIFF folder and hold it there. Go to Export As. We're going to leave it as a TIFF. Just hit Export. And yeah, you want to replace the older version. Okay. Now I like to close Graxpert and reopen it. Or not Graxpert, but GIMP. I like to close GIMP and reopen it when I'm between images. It's just a personal preference. I think it's cleaner that way. So here we're opening GIMP back up, and this time we'll take the starless image. Go to our desktop. Go back down to TIFF. This time we'll grab the starless Graxpert, which is right here. Again, you want to keep, and there it is. That's really looking pretty nice, and we haven't really even started editing this image yet, so we're going to start that now. One thing I would like to do is go ahead and go up here to View, go to Zoom, and fill the window. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of sharpening on this first, and it's good to zoom way in on your image because you have a better idea of how what you're doing is changing your image. So I'll come up here to Filters. I want to come down to Enhance, and I'm going to come down to Sharpen. Now, as soon as I click on Sharpen, it's going to add some sharpness right away. So you'll see the change when I click on this, and there it is. That's a pretty good start to sharpness. I could sharpen it more, but I'm going to put this through Astro Sharp program here in just a few minutes, so I don't want to overdo the sharpening here. And it's kind of nice because we've still got that lighter colored gas around the top of the horse head here at the nose and on top of the head, so I'm glad to see that we didn't wipe that out when we went into Graxpert. So now we'll add a little bit of noise reduction. We'll come back up to Filters, come down to Enhance again, and click on Noise Reduction, and then apply the tiny bit of noise reduction to it right away. So I'm going to accept that. And now let's go back to View, and let's put Fit Image in Window so we can see the entire image. Okay, now we're going to go to Colors. We're going to come down and do Saturation first. And here's the slide scale for saturation. As you slide it up, you intensify the colors, and you can slide it all the way the other way and make a black and white image if you want to. So let me put it back at the midpoint. It's really easy to oversaturate the Horse Head Nebula just because it's really pretty, But I try to avoid that because you lose sight of some of these structures if you oversaturate it. Let's see if we can add just a little bit. Yeah, you can see you're oversaturating there. I think that, let's reset it. I'm thinking I like it where it is, so I'm not even going to adjust the saturation. So I'll cancel there. So come back on down to colors. I'm not really going to mess with exposure. Shadows, highlights. This can have a pretty profound effect on your image, especially when you're trying to bring out some of these dark clouds down here. And shadows does that. So I want to come here to the shadows slide bar. We'll slide it to the right, and you'll see that dark nebulosity show up better. You have to be careful because you can definitely overdo this and bring out a lot of noise. You're really seeing the noise come out in the corners of the image when I do this. But let's go back to neutral. Okay, I like that. We brought out quite a bit of the clouds there, and some of this, some of these structures out here. Now highlights, the highlights and the white point adjustment. One thing that I'm still learning how to do well, and I'm not there yet, is stars. So even though this is a starless image, when we separated from the stars, the nebula still took these really bright halos from the stars, and they're just really bright with you can see this glow or this glare around it. So I can use white point adjustment to kind of mitigate that some. I took it all the way down, and highlights will really help with this. When I go to highlights and take the slider bar to the left, you'll see I'll go back and forth. You can see that glare. It pretty much eliminates that, and you can see part of that fire nebula, that structure, better. So I'm going to take all that all the way down. So I'm going to hit OK. The last thing we're going to do under colors is contrast. Contrast you have to have a really light hand with. I normally add a tiny bit, and you'll see what that does. If you add too much, it goes too dark. If you take it the other way, it grays out. Let me go back to neutral. If you take contrast up just a tiny bit and don't overdo it, then it can kind of make your image look richer. Okay, so I kind of like it right there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and call it done in GIMP for now. Later, after we go through AstroSharp, we'll bring the image back in GIMP, and we can make further adjustments if necessary. But that's looking pretty good. So what we'll do is we'll go up here to File, come down to Export As, and we're going to send this image back into GIMP. Back into the TIFF folder. And it's asking if you want to replace the old version. Yes, you want to replace it. And you have to hit export one more time. Okay, now this image is in our TIFF folder, so we can go to AstroSharp and see what it can do with sharpening our image further. So I'm going to close GIMP, hit discard changes, and I'm going to open AstroSharp. And as stated previously, all four of these processing tools I use, Siril, Graxpert, GIMP, and AstroSharp, they are free downloads. Sometimes you have to try to open AstroSharp more than once to get it to open. Other folks have had issues with it too, but it's a great program, so I'm not going to whine about it too much. So there, it opened that time. So what we want to do is we want to maximize it on the screen. For this choose model, you want to make sure you use second beta. That's from my experimentation. You're welcome to try the other options if you want to, but second beta seems to work the best with Seestar images. You want to make sure under preview you've got full preview going here. There we go. And you want to go out and grab your image out of the TIFF folder, and here it is. Okay. your original image is right here. It's grayed out. Don't worry about that. So since I've got over 20,000 subs stacked to get this file, I can be very aggressive with sharpening, and I'm going to be very aggressive with the PSF. Now I don't have any stars in this image, so I'm going to take that all the way down, and I'm going to leave the chunk size where it is. I never move it. It says here it doesn't affect the output anyway. Alright, I'm going to hit update sliders, and let's see what AstroSharp does. You'll have a progress bar open up right here. Okay, there's our result. Let's go ahead and download it back into the TIFF folder, and we'll minimize AstroSharp for now. Let's go to the TIFF folder and let's compare the results. Okay, so here's the starless image before we went through AstroSharp, and now let's open the one that AstroSharp just processed for us, and let's bring them over here side by side. Okay, before AstroSharp and after AstroSharp. Again, I hope this translates to your screen on YouTube, but I can see quite a difference. We can zoom in on the horse head. Okay, it's much sharper here, but if you notice, I picked up, I guess these are what you call hot pixels. You don't see them here. This is an artifact of AstroSharp here, but I'm gonna let that slide for now because I can remove them. But as you back out on the image, I mean, you look at the Flame Nebula. Let's bring them up. It's quite a bit sharper here than it is here. And then as you pull back, the image overall is clear here from AstroSharp. You can see more detail in this cloud area than you can see there. So I'm going to go ahead and accept what AstroSharp did. And what I'm going to do for housekeeping, I'm going to get rid of this starless image. We'll delete it. I don't need these either, so I can delete that, and I can delete that, and this is just for housekeeping. Alright, now I've got the star mask that I need to run through AstroSharp, and as you look at the star mask, it looks really good, but we still have to run it through AstroSharp. If you don't, then when you go back into Serial, you won't be able to put the stars back into the image with the nebula. If you put one through AstroSharp, you got to put both of them through. So let's go ahead and do that now. And like I stated earlier with GIMP, I like to close AstroSharp and reopen it when I'm going to a different image. Okay, same as before, under choose model, we're going to go to second beta. You want to have full image selected here. Let's go ahead and grab our star mask. There we go. Alright, it's sitting right there. Now I'm not going to be aggressive with the stars because the stars already look pretty good. If you get too aggressive with sharpening stars, they can get wonky on you pretty quick. The DSO PSF can go to 0. We're doing the stars, so I'll put a little bit of sharpening on it. No aggressiveness hardly at all. And let's go ahead and update the sliders and let AstroSharp do its thing. Okay, result coming up, and there it is. So we're going to go ahead and download that back into the TIFF folder. And again, I'll have to hit no here and show you why it's asking me that. Let's minimize that. Let's go back into the TIFF folder. And those of you who have watched a bunch of my videos, you've seen me do this before. I forgot to rename the processed image that we got from AstroSharp previously. And the reason you have to rename it is so that AstroSharp won't try to save the current image over the old image. And I forgot to do that, so we'll be okay now. Now we won't get that message. So come back and open AstroSharp, come back up to download processed file, and save. And there we go, we're okay that time. All right, we can close AstroSharp. Go back to the TIFF folder. With the small amount I did in AstroSharp for the star mask, you're not going to see much of a difference. I'll show it to you anyway. There's the original, and here's the one after we sent it through AstroSharp. No change. I might have a hot pixel here that I need to take care of. We'll do that when we go back through GIMP. I still got a little bit of that blue left. But again, the only reason we ran it through AstroSharp is so that Cyril will allow you to put them back together. The stars and the nebula. Okay, so I can go ahead and get rid of the old star mask for housekeeping. Delete that. All right, now let's open GIMP back up. All right. We go to open. We're going to go to the desktop where the TIFF folder is. Going to find the TIFF folder. There it is. And remember, AstroSharp named our nebula picture OneProcessed. So we're going to click on that first. And there it is. So that looks really good. I don't know how much more, if anything, I'm going to do to that. But we can try a couple of things real quick since we're here. First thing I want to do is go back to View. I want to go to Zoom, and I want to fill the window. We do have to get rid of these hot pixels, so I'm going to do that first. I'm going to go up here to select the eraser. I'm going to take this eraser size down so I don't overdo it. And I'm just going to come in here and kind of block out. If any of you out there in YouTube land knows what causes those hot pixels to show up like that, let me know down in the comments. Okay, as you can see, I pretty much got rid of them there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and see if we can do any more sharpening. So go to Filter. We're going to go to Enhance. And again, as soon as I hit Sharpen, it's going to add a little bit, maybe too much. Yeah, it added too much there. Starting to see some scalloping come up in our image here and in other areas. So I'm going to drop it back down to neutral and see if I can add just a little bit of sharpening. Yeah, maybe just a little bit. And let's see if we can do some more of the go to Enhance, see if we can add a little bit more noise reduction. Yeah, that helped a little bit. So I'll hit OK. All right, let's go back to the normal view of the object. It always looks better when you zoom back out. We'll fit it in the window. All right, that's looking pretty nice right there. I'm not going to mess with saturation anymore. I think that's colorful, but I don't really want to go any higher than that. But let's go ahead and go back to colors and come down to the shadows and highlights again. See if we can bring the shadows out a little more. Yeah, there you go. You can see a whole lot of these dust clouds down here now. So I'm going to hit OK on that. And let's see if we can take the glare of these stars down a little bit more. We'll stay in shadows and highlights. Let's see if taking highlights down on its own will help. It's not really changing it this time. Let's see if white point adjustment helps any. set point adjustment helps a little bit. It takes the whole image down, so I'm a little bit, I don't really want to use that because I'm starting to lose the definition and some of these clouds we work so hard to bring out. So I'm going to leave that like it is. And it's interesting that highlights doesn't really have any effect on it. Alright, so I'm just going to cancel that. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and send it back to Cyril. So we're going to come up here to File. We are going to hit Export As. We're going to come down here to select File Type, and we're going to turn this back into a FIT file. There it is, Flexible Image Transport System. And we're going to save it back into the Cyril work folder. Mine's on the D drive. And I just scroll down till I find it. There it is. And I hit export. Okay, now we can close out GIMP. And now we're going to reopen GIMP and grab our star mask images. Okay, we're going to come up here to File, Open, go to the desktop where the TIFF folder is, and we're going to come down to our TIFF folder, which is right there, and we're going to open the Processed. Remember, that's what AstroSharp renamed our star mask Processed. So we'll grab that. There it is. Now, we're going to handle a couple things in here. I have that hot pixel right there and still a little bit of the blue, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to come up here and grab the eraser, and I'm going to come down here and see if I can remove that little red. There it goes, it's gone. And let's see if we can get rid of a little more of this blue here. Yeah, that's gone. I don't see any other hot pixels in the image, so what I'm going to do is come up to File. We're going to Export As. We're going to turn this back into a FIT file. We're going to come up, go to the D drive where my Cyril home work folder is, locate it, click on it, and export. Alright, so we can close GIMP. Now we're going to maximize Cyril again, and we're going to, let's go ahead and open up our Nebula, which is one processed. There it is. That looks really nice. A whole lot of structure showing there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. I'm not really going to manipulate this any further. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the stars back in. So we're going to come down to Star Processing, Star Recomposition. So then you have this box open up. The left side with this graph is for the nebula. The right side with this graph is for the stars. So let's load the nebula in first. You'll go to this little file icon, and you're going to, let's redo that. Went to the wrong spot. You're going to go to this little file icon, and you're going to come down. You'll be in your Cyril home folder. You're going to come down and you're going to choose one processed. Remember, one processed is what we named our nebula. There it is. Then we're going to come over here and grab this file, click on this file folder here, and we're going to grab processed, which is what AstroSharp named our star mask. Okay, there's the stars added back in. Looking pretty good. So a lot of times I'll reduce the stars some. If you leave all the stars in it, I think it kind of takes away from some of the nuances of the nebula. But let's see what it looks like. The way you reduce your number of stars is you come to the star side here. You come down to this black point and move this slider to the right. you can actually go all the way to the right, remove all the stars, or you can find a happy middle point in there and just I'm not going to remove many of them because I think a lot of stars look good in this image. We'll take it down just a little bit. All right, I think that looks pretty good, so I'm going to hit apply. Now you can also come over here on this side and manipulate the nebula. I think it looks fine, but we'll do a couple things just so you can see what it does. You can actually stretch it some more if you want to. I don't think we really need to. I kind of like the way it looks there. You can even use this black point if you want to darken the sky some. But as you slide this slider to the right, you could lose a lot of your dark nebulosity there. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to reset it. I like it where it is. So let's hit apply and apply on both sides and then close. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, if you notice, I've got a little bit of noise here in this corner and there's some noise down here. So we're going to do some slight cropping. So we're going to go to image processing. We're going to come down to geometry. We're going to come down to rotate and crop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up a little bit. And I'm going to bring this line down a little bit. Hit apply. All right, I think that looks pretty nice. Yeah, that looks good. So make sure again you hit apply and close. And my opinion I expressed before, I'm not really happy with the portrait mode the Seestar puts out. I like to put it in landscape mode. So we'll come down here to this icon and flip it around. And there you go. Now you can save this to your computer and manipulate it some more with your stock photo editor. Sometimes that helps a little bit. And that's exactly what I did. I took a little time jump here. This is the final image after I worked on it with my photo editor. I just did some very small minor tweaking with it, and this is the end result. So 57 hours of data collection mixed together with fits from the S30 and the S50, about 10,000 from each telescope, and they fused together just fine. I hope you found this helpful. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Photon Rookie video.